Today on the Kings of Swag, we have a true builder and innovator in the print-on-demand space, Jayson Tompkins, founder and CEO of Fulfill Engine. He's built the operational backbone for many leading players in the print-on-demand space. In 2023, Fulfill Engine was acquired by Stahls, one of the biggest names in decorated apparel. Jayson represents that rare combination of operator and innovator. I learned a lot from this podcast, and I think you will too. Let's get into it. I'm super excited about this episode specifically because just so you know my background a little bit, swag.com, we weren't really involved in the print on demand space at all. Like we did the traditional methods of printing, screen printing, embroidery, laser engraved, embossed, etc. We did a few orders in the early days of print on demand and they never really worked out for us. So I remember the first year, 2016, we did about 3 orders and the customer just never truly loved it. And we always had to redo it. So me and my co-founder, Josh, we just kind of swore off print on demand. And we just let's just not worry about that. Let's just focus on what we know and what we're good at. And then after we got acquired by Custom Ink, I was in a meeting and they were bringing some samples of recent print on demand work they did. And the work was insane. It was amazing. It was like night and day. And so I do want to kind of dive into where print on demand is today and where you think it's going. But before we do that, we'd kind of just love to hear about your story and how you got into this crazy industry. So to start, Jayson, where are you from? What's your background?
Yeah, it's a wild ride. I've been in Charleston, South Carolina now for almost 18 years, almost long enough to say I'm a local. And so my journey began when I was a software engineer at a company called Blackbaud, one of the leaders of nonprofit software. And my wife and sister decided to jump into owning their own business. And it was this tiny little print shop. It's a franchise called PostNet. It's kind of like sorry, PostNet to say this, kind of like a bad UPS store. Okay. So you do some shipping, you do some light printing with business cards and signage. And honestly, it was really hard and we just weren't very profitable. And we were putting a lot of work into it. And through some just dumb luck, there was a lot of dumb luck on my journey of where we are today. We decided to go to a conference and the first booth when we walked in was the Stahls booth, okay? It was a crazy, full circle moment. And we realized, hey, we already have this roll-in print cut solution. We can buy some vinyl and a heat press and start making t-shirts. Oh, that's cool. So we stuck around the conference and bought the floor model from Stahls, the cheapest heat press they had. And it was a tank. I still have it. It's so awesome that we still have that piece of equipment. And so we bought that and brought it home and learned that we could make shirts. So we started selling t-shirts out of our tiny little print shop and we didn't even know there was a SanMar or an S&S or an Alpha Brother. We were buying our shirts from Hobby Lobby. This was in 2016, okay? So 10 years ago, we're buying our shirts from Hobby Lobby. We don't know any better. And Kristen Kenny from SanMar happened to be living in the same apartment complex that we had our 900 square foot print shop. And she comes walking in one day just for fun. And she's like, where are you buying your shirts? And we were like, yeah, we come from Hobby Lobby. And she's like, I think I may know someone who might be able to help you. And so she introduced us to SanMar. And then we started getting introduced to other decorators in the area. And so we started doing more business and we learned about promo. And so this is all over the course of a year or two. We're just diving into this industry and we're like, oh my gosh, there's this huge industry. And so along that path, realized from my kind of knowledge of nonprofits that there was a hole in the offering to nonprofits to give them something that is either a redemption store or a way for them to fundraise. And so I was a shitty software engineer. I don't mind admitting it. I wish I had AI back then. I may have been a decent software engineer, but back then I was a terrible software engineer, but I had a great idea, or what I thought was a great idea. And so I went and recruited a couple really great engineers who I was good friends with, John Bell and Adam Hickey. And I said, hey, if we just build one thing to help nonprofits fundraise via swag, then I think we might be onto something. And we launched that in late 2018. And in 2019, we had 10x'd. COVID hit. We thought for sure the business was hosed. We were in big trouble. the total opposite happened. We pivoted. Credit to John. He built a Shopify integration literally in a weekend. And it wasn't as easy as it is now to build integrations back then. So he did some magic. We started working with Shopify platforms. Then we started working with like other big e-commerce platforms. We started working with like Printify. And before you know it, our business is the fastest growing business in South Carolina. We're in Inc. I think we were like 200 something on the Inc.
And
5000.
what was the company called at this time?
Print Your Cause.
Print Your Cause. Okay, and just
Yeah.
to go a little back for 1 second. So
Yeah.
you're in this industry. How do you get, like you say you're a software engineer by trade or before this.
Yeah.
How long did you work in the software engineering space before you kind of said, let me start this Print Your Cause business?
Yeah, 12 years.
12 years. Okay, so you come out of college, you're a software engineer for 12 years, and then something happens. You say, I want to be an entrepreneur. What was that moment of like, I'm an employee at a large company. I'm a software engineer. I want to take the rein, like the bull by the horn, as they say, and I want to start my own business. And what was that pivot? What was that shift?
There are so many entrepreneurs out there who drop everything they do to chase a dream, right? And they sacrifice and they risk. I didn't do that. Okay. We had a business that wasn't doing great, and we found a way to make more revenue than we were doing the traditional model. And I didn't leave Blackbaud until the business was like, we were over $1 million in revenue as a side gig. So it was a very time-consuming side gig, and I had 2 little girls. So it was like I was lazy my whole life. And then all of a sudden, now that I have 2 little kids and I've got a business, and then I start another business. I don't know. I caught the bug, I guess. There's just something about it that you don't realize until you're in it. And there's the risk, there's the adrenaline you get from it, there's the highs and the extreme lows. And you get all of that when you're an entrepreneur. And I know, Jeremy, you know what that feels like. And definitely took the leap once we had guarantees, because COVID had just hit. So I left like a really great job I had been at for over 10 years with awesome health insurance. So I did take a little bit of a risk, but it's not like I left when the business model hadn't been proven out.
Right. You already had product market fit. You worked at this company, you had some stability, but it didn't seem like you were necessarily happy working at the company Blackbaud, or you didn't feel like your passion was fulfilled. You start this kind of side hustle gig while you're still employed by Blackbaud, and the business really takes off. It doesn't just become a side hustle, it becomes the fastest growing company legitimately in South Carolina. So you're growing this business and you say, you know what, now's the time to jump 2 feet, or head first, as they say. And now you're in it and you're doing Print Your Cause for how many years where you say you're focused on Print Your Cause?
Yeah, from 2019 to 2022, the focus was Print Your Cause. And then there was a couple aha moments along the way. The aha moment within Print Your Cause was like, we filled our tiny little facility up here in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, which we still have. It's 2,000 square feet, right? And like, it's just, we have an amazing team there. And honestly, they crank out so many units a day for that space, but we went way over capacity of what we could do there. And so we knew we needed to get connected with really great decorators who could fulfill the volume that we were pulling in. And the route and the path that we took was a little bit different than I think a lot of other companies that were growing around COVID or grow even today, is that we built software for those decorators to actually produce our volume. And that was like the tiny little different path than maybe some other platforms have done in the past, where they have this awesome front end solution and they're just feeding in to decorators to do their work. We actually gave our decorators all of the tools to produce it exactly the same way, no matter which facility it went to. And we started.
This is during your Print Your Cause days. You're doing this at that point.
Exactly. Yeah. Fulfill Engine, we had no idea Fulfill Engine was ever going to exist at this point. This was like lots of happy accidents, right? But the beauty was these decorators were teaching us how to do it the right way. And they were giving us ideas that they had maybe had for a long time, and none of the software they were using ever actually helped them. And we were working with decorators who were new to print on demand too. So we were kind of like all in it together, like trial by fire with real volume as we grew these systems together. Our very first partner was US Colorworks in Charlotte. And then we went and we made a connection with Top Shelf out in Denver. And then there was Tag Swag in Louisville. And we were accidentally building this network of really amazing decorators with amazing businesses. And they were able to do our volume. And then the next aha moment again became because of our partners. And they were like, I would like to run my own volume through your software. Like, I want to grow my business because you've built something that's a really cool mousetrap, but then it also allows me to scale with print on demand with speed and quality. And I want to use your software for my business. And we were like, ooh, wait a
Wow.
second.
Okay. I get it. So you're doing Print Your Cause, and part of the Print Your Cause business model was to integrate with all these different partnering companies and give them solutions and software to make the print streamlined and, the whole process. And it's working. But here's my question, and I'm trying to take myself back into your place. You get this aha moment that, yes, we have something, this technology, people are asking for it. Our partners are asking for it. But at the flip side of the coin, Print Your Cause is doing really well, right? It's like the
Yeah,
fastest growing company in South Carolina. So how'd you get into the mindset of starting a completely new business? I know it's not completely new because you're doing it, but
right.
it's a different customer, it's a different priority, it's a different
Totally
focus.
different. Totally
Exactly.
different.
So
Yeah.
how
And
did you get to that moment? And then what frankly happened to Print Your Cause once you decided to pivot to full-time Fulfill Engine?
yeah, so we went all in. We went all in Fulfill Engine. We pulled all of the IP out. Print Your Cause became one of Fulfill Engine's biggest customers. Still is a great partner of Fulfill Engine. I have great leadership in Print Your Cause, but I won't lie to you. This was a failure on my part as a business owner and as an entrepreneur. I went so all in on Fulfill Engine that I kind of just let Print Your Cause do its thing. And I really did that company a disservice by not like putting leadership in earlier and sooner. And I've made amends. We've got an incredible CEO running it now, Dave Higashi. But we went far too long because it's just, you only have so many hours in the day to be able to commit. And like, I was passionate about the software, even though I still love Print Your Cause and love what it does and the message and obviously the brand and everything it does. But yeah, it was difficult trying to do multiple things. And especially after the acquisition with Stahls, all of my kind of attention and passion is, growing Fulfill Engine and this vision that we've had with them.
All right, I want to take a step back before we talk about stalls or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So Fulfill Engine. I do want to hear what Fulfill Engine does and who is the core customer, would you say?
Yeah. When we were building Print Your Cause, and then when we pulled everything out and really started building Fulfill Engine, it was from all the scars and the growth and the scale we experienced ourselves of really understanding the needs of doing on-demand fulfillment in an efficient way. So we have partners on the supplier side. That's going to be, your companies like SanMar and S&S and Lane 7 and AS Color and so on and so on. So we connect and automate the ability to source just in time from our awesome supplier partners. We now have supplier raters. That's a word we made up. Okay. That's going to be like your HIT, your PCNA, your koozie group, right? Guys who supply product and decorate. And then we have our decorators. And within that ecosystem, there's also manufacturers of really great equipment like Kornit and Melco and Brother and so on, right? M&R. And what we've done is we've built software that helps each one of those people within kind of the flywheel of doing on-demand fulfillment. And when you create something that makes it really efficient for a decorator to be able to produce and do unique decoration techniques on demand, you actually create something now that everyone who sells, like platforms, distributors, team dealers, brands, NIL and licensing, the list goes on. It enables them to kind of connect into great partners who can do personalization and on demand in a really high quality, scalable way.
So I'm just trying to think of this because like at every business, every entrepreneur, when you're trying to start a business, there has to be some sort of a wedge, like something that you see that others don't see, or some sort of opportunity that you're going to help this specific customer. You just kind of laid out Fulfill Engine. And now Fulfill Engine works and everything's great. But before Fulfill Engine existed, how did people typically handle print on demand? Like what was the norm? What was the alternative to you guys before you came along?
Frankenstein systems. It's like Google Sheets with Zaps. And depending if you had some wizard in your company who could throw all these systems together, then you could scale it. And I mean, there are some huge on-demand providers who built their own in-house solutions and they're really nice, right? But I will tell you right now, the journey of building your own system and then actually building a commercialized, scalable platform that's used by thousands, that is a total different beast and animal. Because building something for yourself, quite frankly, is easy. Like it really is. When you have to build something to support the needs and give people the ability to control their business, whew, that's tough. And we still have room for improvement today. Like we're definitely not perfect when it comes to that. But that's kind of the mindset shift of when we went from print your cause to fulfill engine is we're no longer just building software for ourselves. We're building software for lots of people with lots of different needs and different ways of running their businesses and who they're serving their clients.
Yeah, so let me get this straight. So, like, when you were doing Print Your Cause, did you refine the Fulfill Engine experience on yourself? Like, you made it perfect for yourself, and you worked out kinks and challenges. But then, when you had to expand to Fulfill Engine and prioritize that focus, I'm sure there was different print shops that worked in different ways and different integrations you had to figure out. So there was a lot of like testing during this process of Fulfill Engine. I'm trying to figure out like was there challenges in the beginning? Like, was it a lot of, like, taping things together? Was it, like, figuring out, like, you getting under the hood of a company and trying to figure out how to make it work for them specifically? Like, what or did it go smooth sailing from Print Your Cause to Fill Engine? Like, what was that
No,
gap?
no, it wasn't smooth sailing anywhere along the journey. Okay. It was like you'd cover one leak and then the two leaks come flying out. Like every time we'd make something efficient, we would find a bottleneck or inefficiency somewhere else. Right. And you don't even know those other inefficiencies are even exist until you fix something else that was covering it up. And so a lot of the software was built so organically. Now, over the last year, it's much more strategic. Like even the last 2 years, I'd say, really since we were acquired, and we can certainly talk more on that of like the leadership and our direction of becoming just more mature as a software company. But like the early days, it was fun too. Like there's nothing more fun than every day coming into the office and solving a new problem that you don't even know what the problem is. You're coming into the office that day.
I love it. I love it. But you start Fulfill Engine, and I read that 2 years after you start, tell me if I'm wrong, you
Yeah.
get acquired by Stahls. So it's relatively quick. I mean, I've never heard
Yeah.
of anything like it. You start something, and then a big company comes in and acquires you. What was that process like? And I like, did they approach you? Did you approach them? And I don't know how
Yeah.
much information you could share. Obviously, don't talk numbers, but
No, no,
what what did,
yeah.
what did that acquisition process even look like?
I mean, more happy accidents that, my friends always say I'm like the luckiest person on earth, and I'm at the point now where I can't argue with them anymore. The partner I was mentioning earlier, Top Shelf, it's like one of them just makes like a LinkedIn post, right? And then Chief Revenue Officer of Stahls, Josh Ellsworth, sees it and he's like, I've never heard of these guys. Right? Like, of course not. We don't have anyone in our company who works in marketing. We didn't have anyone in sales. Fulfillment didn't have a single person in marketing or sales. Okay. Like I told you, I don't really know how to run a business. Okay, I know how to
I
get
think you're
really good
doing a better
people.
job than you give yourself credit for.
I know how to build good teams, but I don't actually understand how to run the business itself. Even though I'm trying to learn as we go. So he sees this LinkedIn post. He emails our general inbox, which at the time I still was like even watching. And I had one of our employees reply to him and was like, "Oh yeah, thanks for reaching out. Jason will get back to you." And I had to be like the guy who, wants to like text the girl back right away. And I'm like, I gotta wait. I gotta wait.
Yeah.
I don't want him to know I'm so excited that he just emailed. So I waited a couple of hours, then I got back to him and was like, "Oh yeah, like we've been a long time user of Stahls equipment. We're a big fan of you guys." And before you know it, I'm at their facilities realizing that Stahls does a lot more than just make heat presses, right? And this was just because I was in my own little e-com bubble, just doing what I needed for myself that I didn't realize what Stahls did in the industry. So it was really cool getting to go behind the scenes and to see and meet their team and just getting to know their culture and getting to learn, this is a 95-year-old fourth generation company. Like there's not many of those in the industry. There's not many of those in the world, period. So it was really neat getting to see that. And we certainly got approached by a couple private equity companies. We were at the finish line with a really large company in our industry, and we were really excited about it, and we thought it'd be a good fit. And honestly, Stahls just saw the vision of being able to keep Fulfill Engine very agnostic in how we work with our partners. And my goodness, I'm so thankful that we got to become a part of the Stahls family. And it wasn't
Amazing.
easy at first. Like I had to learn again how to actually report to someone.
Totally.
and not just go rogue and make decisions on my own. And that was maturity that was on my part. But my goodness, I'm so happy now and so thankful that we get to be a part of this company.
So you felt right away, even the first time you met them, that there was such a synergy, like even maybe more than
Yeah.
you expected.
I mean, I'm walking through their facilities and people have like the number 30 and 20 and 25 above their desks. It's like, what are those? Like, that's how many years they've been working
Wow,
here.
amazing.
Like, that just speaks so much for a company that, they treat their people right. And I was just really impressed with how international they are and how vertical they are in terms of what they do. And I mean, it just got me really excited from day one of meeting their team. And Josh, since day one, has had this vision for what Stahls could do with Fulfill Engine. And it's been really fun seeing that kind of come to fruition in a big way these last 2 years.
So I'm just trying to think because I know, as an entrepreneur, I love to build from like the 0 to 1 phase, and it sounds like you're in a similar boat.
Yeah.
And I like to break things, and I like to test things, and I'm okay with things not necessarily working out because I see, oh, maybe there's something I could learn from that could make me pivot and figure out, and I like that. But traditionally, I'm not saying every large company doesn't necessarily think that way. There's a lot of for a better word, bureaucracy or more people that have to
Yes.
make decisions and a lot more input. And it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's different. But when you join a company and you have this like entrepreneurial lens, and now you're the entrepreneur that's brought into the company, and you have this chief, what's your title, chief digital officer or whatever that means.
Whatever that means, exactly.
Exactly. So you're this C-suite, but you're really like the entrepreneur that they're bringing in, and you have this creativity. How do you keep that culture or that drive to want to keep innovating and push boundaries when maybe it's not as easy? I mean, in some ways it's easier because you have more, maybe funds or you have more leverage or all these things. But in other ways it's maybe not as easy because there's more people and more decision makers you have to get on board. How have you been able to navigate it?
It wasn't easy at first because I wasn't prepared mentally for what a pace of still going fast, but also not just doing things without planning and being strategic, right? And to your point, like I'm in the same boat. I love to break stuff. I love that 0 to 1. At my previous software life, when I was a shitty software engineer, I would get moved on projects a lot because leadership would see that I would do something and I'd get kind of bored with it, right? Like once it was like starting to mature, I would get bored with it. What happened with Fulfill Engine, though, is that we're spinning a lot of plates right now, and we have such a kind of robust offering that helps a lot of different people. The entrepreneurial speed of which we're working is still there. And that was what attracted me to Stahls from day one, is that they have innovated so many things with transfers, with heat presses, with fulfillment. Where they struggled was like having a software solution that kind of did what ours did. And there wasn't really anything in the industry. Like there's pieces of our software that you could certainly look at and be like, they do a really great job. They might even do a better job than we do in a lot of areas. But it was the ecosystem that we had built. It was the fact that we were tying all these things together. And that's what I know attracted Stahls. And then vice versa, it attracted me to them knowing and being confident that I would have the maturity of the leadership team, the maturity of the size of the company, but still have that entrepreneurial spirit. And that's really sums up Ted Stahl. Like that's how he built this incredible business, was just pure entrepreneur, pure innovative spirit. And he like really pushes that culture down, starting at the executive team all the way down to everyone within the company. And that's why I think today I'm still so happy. And you're right, there are so many founder stories you hear where after acquisition and they're miserable, right? And I certainly went through my own like questionable times, but it was maturity on my part that needed to happen. But Stahls, man, they've been incredible. They've been able to pour kind of gasoline on the fire, and like it's been a wild ride, but it's been so much fun.
Amazing. That's amazing to hear. And that's like the true sign. How many years? You're 2 years after the acquisition at this point?
It's like 2-year anniversary. Like
2 anniversary. So to still have that feeling and I see it in your eyes, like you're lighting up talking about it. You bought it in, and you feel like you with Stahls could build something really amazing together.
Yeah, yeah, I feel like we're in it, and, in a week from now, we're hosting the POD conference. Obviously excited that
I'm
you'll be
coming down. Thank you so much for the invite. This is awesome.
Exactly. I mean, like, how freaking cool is that, like, Stahls took the initiative, not me. Like, again, like, there's so many things we've already done that I'll gladly take some credit for, even if I didn't have anything to do with it. I don't mind that. POD conference is no different. Like, this was what I thought was a terrible idea. I'm like, "This is Josh, you've lost your mind." But it was Carlene, it was Josh, it was our events team, and they put on this event last year. It was one of the best events I've ever been to, and I'm not just saying I know, like, you're gonna think I have a biased opinion here. That was, I think, the general consensus, and, like, now we have the pressure to, like, one up ourselves each year,
Awesome.
and I love it. Like, how freaking cool is that? Like, we are getting to, like, bring people together to elevate what we're trying to do. And at the end of the day, I think that summarizes sort of the vision of Stahls and Fulfill Engine is like the software is nothing without our partners. Like genuinely, it does nothing without great partners. And that's, that gets me excited because I just love working with people and love building those partnerships and relationships.
Amazing. And next, it takes me to my next question. I started this episode talking to you about where is print on demand right now and where is it going? So, what do you think? Where do you? I mean, right now, what I've seen, and I'm so not in it. I'm like a bystander. I've been in literally one meeting about print on demand in my entire career, so I'm really excited to hear this. But the quality looks really, really good from what I've seen, and I know it's gotten a lot better because I saw the quality 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and it really wasn't. It wasn't even close. So
Yeah,
where are we today, and can it even get better in your estimation?
absolutely. So we have a lot of the manufacturers of the printing equipment to thank. We have the invention of direct to film has certainly had huge impacts on the industry, allowing high quality quantities of one. But the reality is, 5, 6 years ago, or in your case, back in 2016, when you think of print on demand, you're thinking of a crummy DTG print. And it was not very great. It was really good for like a concert tee, right? Like with a big full front image on it, with full color. But on demand embroidery has been around for forever. And the problem is that there wasn't a great system to make it efficient. So embroiderers and screen printers and contract decorators, they would do it, but they would charge an arm and a leg. They'd charge like $20 to do a one-piece embroidery because they didn't have the equipment. All their equipment was like 6, 8, 12, 18 head machines. So they didn't have the efficiencies to be able to do it on demand. But like someone like Vantage Apparel, right? Great embroiderer. They've been doing pieces of one for like 20 years. So they always crack up when they hear that, like, oh, there's this new thing. Everyone's doing embroidery on demand. And they just roll their eyes. They're like, yeah, okay, it's brand new. Um, and really, like, it's this mindset of on demand isn't just quantities of one. It's just all about producing what you need when you need it, right? And where you need it. And that's kind of what I've been screaming from the rooftops these last couple of years is that we've been doing on demand for a long time. The industry has. It's just a mental shift in terms of how we can do business, starting from the customer experience of who's buying it, of like lowering those minimum quantities down. And then in turn, not having someone touch the artwork, not having someone place a PO, not having any data entry. Like when you have automated systems through that whole process, print on demand can be scalable and very profitable, all while having a good quality product. And so it's just this combination of the equipment, the decoration technology, not the software, just the technology itself, combined with great processes. And like there are tons of people doing print on demand successfully, and Fulfill Engine has nothing to do with their businesses, and they're crushing it. So it's not like Fulfill Engine came along and invented print on demand. We came along with a system that can empower people and connect people. But I mean, print on demand is just, it's so cool right now with just all the different decoration techniques that you used to have to do in bulk. And so many people are adopting it. So of course, it's really exciting for me to see it happen live.
It's crazy. I was walking the PPI show, and I rarely go to the show. It's like I think my third year ever going. And I was walking, but this year, for some reason, it just felt like there were so many more people, so many bigger booths. Like all the smaller players that maybe 3 years ago had a small booth and they were doing print on demand are now having some of the biggest booths at the show, and I feel like it's obviously it's not at maturity yet, but it's getting to a place where it's has a real it's a real part of the industry. And like
Yeah.
when you got into this industry, obviously you had to feel like you were early, right? No one wants to get into an industry necessarily if they feel like they're on the downswing. You felt like you were early. You felt like you maybe saw something that other people didn't see. But there's still people that want to get into the print on demand space now. And there's all these different varying aspects of the space. If you had to recommend to a young entrepreneur who's trying to get into the industry right now, where do you think there's still opportunity? Like which part of the business do you think like, you know what, there's still some innovation left to happen in this spot?
Yeah. So I actually have a graphic on this because I've talked about this exact question on a couple panels previously. There are all these kind of different verticals if you visualize it, right? There's like promo, and then there's team, sports, and fan. And like even within promo and team sports and fan, there's like 20 divisions within subdivisions of those verticals, right? And then you get over into like corporate, and then you get into like e-com where you have TikTok shop and Etsy stores. And then you get into brands that are on Shopify that want to combine 3PL with on demand. So you have all of those different verticals where traditionally they weren't using print on demand. Like print on demand was born heavily, it got exponential growth right around COVID because everyone was home. And then platforms like Printify, Printful, Redbubble and Teespring, like those platforms were really fueling that growth in print on demand. And so what I would say to a young entrepreneur is that the like wilderness is like untamed yet, right? There are still lands to be explored. There are business opportunities out there that I don't know are out there and the industry doesn't know is out there. And there are other industries that print on demand and fulfillment on demand can bring serious opportunity to. And now with the ability to code things up so quickly and like vibe coding, like a young entrepreneur could pop up with a good idea and build a legitimate business sitting on top of frameworks that are now really mature with on demand and launch a business in like a couple days.
It's
Whereas,
crazy.
10 years ago, you'd like, it would have been like your journey, it'd been like my journey. You would have had to grind through like the highs and lows of building this stuff because it just didn't exist yet, or it wasn't good enough quality. And I just think it's a really incredible time in our industry. And like, we're just scratching the surface. I genuinely believe that. You combine AI with all of the maturity now on the way on demand is actually like fulfilled. And there are so many great partners out there who can help. Like, man, what an incredible time to be an entrepreneur.
I love it. Jayson, first of all, thank you so much for joining the podcast. I learned a lot. I know the audience will learn a lot. Keep doing amazing work. And I'm excited to hang out in, 10 days from now?
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna be down in West Palm. Hopefully, we'll actually have some warm weather down there. But thank you for having me today. I've really enjoyed all of the previous podcasts and can't wait to see future guests as well.
Thank you so much, Jayson. All the best, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.